Hello, everyone. Dr. Vicky here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center. It is time for Taroscopes. We're going to be doing the Taroscopes for the sign of Capricorn. That's Capricorn Sun, Capricorn Moon, Capricorn Rising for the month of February 2026. Before we get started, I'd just like to thank and welcome my new subscribers and, of course, my tried and true have been with me for years. I really do appreciate your support. Um, so we are looking at the sign of Capricorn, the sea goat. A lot of times Capricorn is depicted as just a goat, but it actually has the top half of a goat and the bottom half of a fish. And that's symbolic of Capricorn having uh, plumbed the depths and risen to the top. So Capricorn really is sort of a straight shot up, right? The ruler of that 10th house. Capricorn is a cardinal earth sign. As I said, cardinal signs start the season. So in the northern hemisphere, Capricorn starts the season of winter, and in the southern hemisphere, it starts the season of summer. The mantra for Capricorn is I utilize, and your ruling planet is the baddie of all baddies, Saturn, which isn't really a baddie. Saturn requires us to follow the rules if we want to succeed on the physical plane. You have to go by the rules. If you're going to jump off a building, you have to be aware that unless it's a very short building and you're very athletic, chances are you're going to go splat because you have to understand the laws of gravity. And in fact, Capricorn really kind of, or Saturn anyway, to me, rules gravity. And the symbol here is a sea goat, as I said. So we're gonna next you're gonna see um, a little blurb on the astrology and the Kabbalah of this month. And this is the same one in all the videos. So if you've seen your other one, you can skip ahead. Or if you want to hear it again, you certainly can. I wouldn't stop you. You're in charge of your own destiny, Capricorn, and I don't have to be the one to tell you that because you already know. Okay, so let me move on here. All right, so we're looking at February for Capricorn. Remember, we're in a hanged man year. I did look up a tree associated with the sign of Capricorn, and I got redwood. Redwood is a very strong tree. They grow very, very tall. They're very stable. The redwood wood, if I could say that, but only once, is very strong. They make a lot of decks and stuff, where they used to anyway, out of redwood. So it is known for its longevity. It lives many, many years, and for its strength, which is also associated with Capricorn and the planet Saturn. And we have the Hanged Man card from one of my favorite decks, the Crow deck. Now, Saturn this month is a big month for Saturn because Saturn starts the month in Pisces and moves into Aries. In fact, Saturn ingresses into Aries on Friday, the 13th of February 2026, when it moves into Aries now for good. It moved into Aries last year for a couple of months and went back into Pisces, I think it was September 1st, and has been meandering back, well, first retrograde and then direct through the last few degrees of Pisces, and now it is ready to finally leave the watery realms of Pisces and move into the energy of the new, the becoming energy of Aries. Now, of course, as soon as it moves into Aries on the 13th, not 7 days later, we have the conjunction of Saturn to Neptune in the sign of Aries. And for you, Capricorn, it is happening in your fourth house, the very root of you. And so this really, in a way, for Capricorn is a huge rebirth. As Saturn is your ruling planet, and Saturn is sort of the planet associated with time. As it goes through Pisces, because Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, we know we're at the end of something. And now that it's in Aries, we're at the beginning of something. And you get to create your reality here. Okay, you get to create your reality. Saturn is the planet of reality. Neptune is the planet of imagination. And Aries is about new birth, new rebirth. Okay, so this is a very powerful and exciting time. It can also be a challenging time because Capricorn does like the tried and true. Capricorn is a relatively traditional sign. And so, with all the upheaval, all the Uranian energy that's been blowing through our lives, so to speak, it's been hard for the Capricorn. I have my Saturn in Capricorn, and um, luckily I have a prominent Uranus, so when I see things collapsing, I get a little bit concerned, but I don't like lose my shit because I'm all for new and exciting with Uranus. But that's that's for those of you born in well, I don't know, anywhere really. You just have to know where Uranus sits in your chart, I guess. All right, so we have Saturn ingress into Aries on the 13th, and then on the 20th, it makes that conjunction at 1 degree of Aries, which is a symbol of emergence, and what is emerging out of? What is this energy emerging out of? It is emerging out of the great cosmic sea, the great cosmic sea. So we do have also, it's not just about the Saturn Neptune conjunction, but we also have an eclipse this month. We have a full moon on the 1st of February, and that full moon is in Leo, and that for you is in your 8th house. That's your shared resources. It's the house of sex, death, and rebirth. And with the sun being in the 2nd house, the 2nd, 8th house axis is the axis of values. And so you could have an illumination around that. We also have a new moon solar eclipse, and that's actually happening in Aquarius, the last degree of Aquarius, I might add, or the 29th degree, actually, second to the last degree of Aquarius, which incidentally sits very close to the Sibley moon. The Sibley is the 1776 chart for America, 5:10 p.m., Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, July 4th, 1776. So the birthday, the Declaration of Independence, as it were, right? So with an eclipse on the moon of the United States, uh, we can expect more revolutionary energy. And in point of fact, we are in a revolution yet again. Only instead of the red coats, it's the cosplayers who unfortunately also have deadly force. Okay, so we have well, let's start with Saturn because Saturn again starts the month in your 3rd house of mind, moving into that 4th house of home and family. It's also the spiritual house. It's the end of days house, but it's where your soul lies, and it also deals with your family, and so there could be some endings and new beginnings with family at this time. Neptune is now in that 4th house and went in on the 26th of January and will be there for about 14 years. So it's going to stay there for a while. Uranus stations direct this month, and it's going to move out of Taurus, but not quite yet. It actually spends, I think, all of the month at the 28th degree of Taurus, but it is turning and it is going to start its exit out of Taurus, finally exiting in April. And then it will be for about 7 years in the sign of Gemini, which is communication and information. Uranus can be chaos, so we can expect a lot of information coming out that could create some chaos. but you don't necessarily have to worry about that quite yet because that's not quite happening. But we did get a little bit of a taste of that last year when Uranus was in Gemini for, I think, about 3 months. It only went up, I think, to the second degree or 2.5 degrees of Gemini, or no, I think it was 1.5 degrees of Gemini. So it went in and it came out very quickly, but there was a lot revealed at that time. So we can expect tons and tons of revelations when that actually finally does happen. The sun starts the month in your second house when it's in Aquarius. That's where we have the the new moon eclipse in that house as well. Of course, Pluto now is well ensconced in that second house. It ain't moving for a while. It's moving, but it's going to stay put in the house. It's going to take a long time for that Pluto to move out of that house. Venus starts the month in Aquarius, moving into Pisces, where she is exalted. This is an opportunity, perhaps, to get together with family and friends, friends from like grammar school and high school kind of friends, and of course, your siblings. Venus in Pisces asks us to forgive, and the North Node is in Pisces. So a lot of what has been going on with the North Node in Pisces, where the Capricorn is to really come to terms with their early years and any issues that they need to let go of, dissolve away, forgive, and the like. Now, Mercury starts in Aquarius, moving into Pisces relatively early in the month and staying and retrograding at the end of the month. The Pisces, Mercury in Pisces retrogrades, I think, on the 26th of February at 23 degrees of Pisces. So it moves all the way to the 23rd degree of Pisces, and then it turns around at the end of the month. So it's going to also be retrograded in Pisces, of course, next month, and turn around next month, and then spend more time in Pisces. In fact, all the Mercury retrogrades this year are in water signs. The first one being Pisces, the second one's going to happen in Cancer, and the third one will happen in Scorpio. And so when we have these Mercury retrogrades in water signs, and there's 3 Mercury retrogrades and they're all completely in water, it usually means that we're going to have a very emotional and feeling kind of year. Of the 365 days of this year, 171 of those are spending time. The Mercury is in water signs. So a lot of feeling. And Capricorn, you're feeling, but sometimes you try to stuff those feelings because you got too much work to do. You're gonna be able to ignore them. You're gonna have to deal with them, guys. And the first one you're gonna deal with is the one that's happening in your third house of the mind and of your compulsory school years, kindergarten through high school, and also your siblings, your cousins, the people your friends that you met first, right? Usually your siblings and your cousins. Let's see. Mercury retrograde, I said that. The sun also goes in that third house, illuminating things. Jupiter is retrograde this month, and it's in Cancer. That is your house of relationship. So you could be renegotiating some contracts within your relationships, whether they be marriage relationships or business relationships. The seventh house is also open enemies, so there could be a peace deal with an open enemy, if I might say. We'll see. We'll see. The new moon happens in your second house of resources. The full moon is spanning, and the full moon happens on February 1st. It's in Leo, and the sun, of course, being in Aquarius. That is the axis of values. So you could become aware of something. With that, something comes to a head when it comes to your resources and your shared resources. I think that's all I want to say about that. So let me pull out of this. Okay, I'm back. All right, I'm going to be using the Guardians of the Night and the Starseed Oracle. Yes. So let's see what we get here. These are kind of big. I do really love these cards. These cards are done by the same woman who does the Crow deck, which is also one of my favorite decks. Does some beautiful work. MJ, I think her name is. Kulani? Kulini? I think it's an Irish name, but I don't know how to say it. C-A. Oh, what does it say? Oh, Cullinane. Kulinani. Maybe she isn't Irish. Maybe it's Scottish. I probably shouldn't make these proclamations unless I know. I'm proclaiming this and it may not be right. I'm not a Capricorn, so I didn't double check that. I love you, Capricorns. I'm a Cancer. Capricorns have always been a little hard on me, I have to say, especially when I was younger. Especially when I was younger and they were either my age or younger than me, I would always go like, oh, come on, right? Because I wanted to kind of stay like a kid and they were always like, let's be super responsible. Now they're like kids and I'm like, hey, let's be super responsible. Well, I don't know if I'd actually say super responsible, but certainly responsible. All right, let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. We start with the Six of Swords. So you're moving out of troubled waters. That's good. Things have been rough. And you're like, you know what? I'm done with the rough. I am done with the rough. I am moving to calmer shores with the knowledge of what it took me to get to calmer shores. So you are well informed on how to get out of maybe a sticky situation. Crossing that is the Nine of Pentacles. So you're going to be extracting yourself, but carefully, because you don't want to necessarily lose the resources that perhaps some of that situation brought for you. So um, you want to do it, you want to get out of something, but you want to do it uh, in a way in which you're financially stable, even if you're moving out of that. Do you know what I mean? At the root, we have the Six of Cups. So this is a nostalgia card. Of course, I just spent quite a bit of time on your astrology talking about family and forgiveness and all of that stuff. So this is definitely, and that's what this could be. Like you're extracting yourself out of a sticky situation, might actually be a situation with your family. And you don't want to upset the apple cart when it comes to like the inheritance or something. So I think that could be it, because that full moon does activate that house of inheritance. So there might be some issues around that. And whenever there's issues of money and family and somebody leaving the planet and then the rest that are left behind, a lot of times those childhood issues come up and they never quite get resolved. And so whatever issues you have will come up when stress is put on the system, so to speak. Let's see what's in the past. Five of Swords, abuse of power. It hasn't been easy to watch this. This is bad. This is destruction. It's unfair treatment. And we know what this is all about, Capricorn. We know what we're talking about here, right? Let's see what's in this. Well, at least it's in the past. I will say that. See what's in the sky. Ooh, the Page of Pentacles. So there's opportunities for you. Now I talked about family inheritance and this, that, and the other thing, but this could also be you extracting yourself from a situation that brought you some resources, and you might be worried that, once you're out of that situation, there won't be resources. But this card says that there is opportunity out there for you. Okay, it may not be as grand as the last thing you did, but it's certainly there. Let's see the immediate future. Strength. So if you have any doubt as to whether you can move through this with grace, no doubt is necessary, but it does take some strength. And this card on the Tree of Life sits right in the throat chakra. Um, it is the path of the strength card, and it is the secret of all spiritual activities, which is actually the Kundalini force. So this is a rising of the Kundalini. So you have a strong heart, you have a lot of strength, and you might have to use some of that this month, but don't worry, you're fine. You'll be fine. How people see you, a little judgy. Judgment. Well, Saturn is judge, jury, and executioner, right? Actually, this is also a rebirth card, so it's not just judgment. People see you as reborn. You're shedding your old skin, just like this snake has, and you're rising up all new with all new skin, all shiny and new. If you've ever had a snake as a pet, but they start to slow down and slow down and slow down, and then barely, do anything, and then their skin starts to come away, and then they shed their skin, and then there's new skin. And that shedding process usually happens after they've grown, after they have outgrown their skin because they've eaten mice or whatever you're feeding them, right? So there's this energy of having to break out of the skin that you're in because you've grown past something. And you have been through that process. And now, and maybe that's what this was about, breaking through some of the old skin that you were in. And now people see you as rising up. That's a great way to be seen, I'll tell you. Seen or be seen. Your domestic situation, the star, hope, right? Your guiding star. You'll find your guiding star at home, I think. It's a wonderful card to have there. It's hope. And so keep hope in your heart and hope in your house. Hopes and fears, the Two of Wands. Twos are always about decisions. You might be a little concerned that you made the wrong decision, or you might be concerned about when do I move forward on this, because you see this lion is standing in the threshold, but she hasn't moved through the threshold yet. So there's a little bit of a waiting period with this energy. And so that may concern you because things don't happen fast enough to move forward, but it will happen. So don't worry about that. And your outcome, the King of Swords. This is a Libra card. The King has dominion over the mind. This is a legal issue. So if a legal issue comes up, there will be a decision made on that. Let me see if we can pick a major arcana. We get the Page of Wands, which is the messenger energy. That's a crow. I count crows to see what's going on. And justice, there we go, the balancing of the scales. So things will balance out fairly, especially if there's legal issues. And there was indication maybe that some of you are going through that with the family, but everything, it looks like it's going to even out, and it's going to be okay. And even if you don't think it's fair, let it, don't take that resentment with you. Let it go if the decision has been made. And sometimes the rules, the law of man and the law of the universe aren't on the same page. And it seems like when the law of man decides what's right and what's fair and what's not fair, that it's not fair. But no, that cosmic justice will always take precedence eventually if you're patient. Underneath it all, we have the Knight of, what is that? The Knight of Cups. I don't have a lot of light on my side here. The Knight of Cups. So this is an offering, perhaps a love offering. Oh, the Three of Swords, betrayal. So be careful of who's offering you what. And then the Three of Wands, which is a wonderful card about something, the birth of light, bringing something to light. Um, and that creation may actually come after some heartbreak around somebody that you had a lot of hope for but maybe disappointed you. So we'll just keep that we'll keep that under the covers here, and you can decide how that's going to work out for you. So let's pull a oracle card now. I'm using as I said, the Starseed oracle this month for everyone. And let me just shuffle these up. I'm doing this in my house because it's so cold out. I didn't want to heat my office up. Um, Heating up spaces is very expensive in New England, so I thought I'd save a little money. But I've had a very chatty bird all day, and also a little bit of a chatty cat. But he did leave finally. But the bird, so if you hear screaming, nobody's being harmed. It's just my parrot. For those of you who may not know, we have a blue and gold macaw who sounds like a pterodactyl, especially if you're in the kitchen and he thinks you're cooking or that there's food to be had. That's usually when he gets the most unquiet. Unquiet, is that a word? Like noisy enough to make your ears bleed. Trust the timing. Well, what a great card for a Capricorn, considering that Saturn is the timer of the zodiac. Oh, here it is, right in front of me. Might have to put a light on for this one. I'm going to hold it up for you so you can see it because these cards are beautiful. All right. Trust. Trust. Okay, here we go. All right. What a lovely card, huh? Okay. Now, definitely this has to come off. Okay. So often those who feel like they're here for a reason sense that time is running out and they spend their life worrying that they might miss their moment. But the only way to miss your life or your moment is to spend your time worrying about missing it. It is never too late to answer a calling, and you're never too old. The tides of your life are magnificently orchestrated to come in and out of perfect in and out in perfect unison. Don't race ahead or ride the wave that was never meant for you. You'll waste your precious time and energy when instead you could be enjoying your life. Everything has a season, and you're being called to trust the one you're in. Don't let impatience, comparison, competition, or paranoia disturb the seeds. It seems that everyone has anxiety these days. You think? Obviously, psychic, right? Psychic person wrote this. Um, Constantly scanning for something they might have missed or a possible threat. Keeping our mind and body pointed in the same direction as our soul is near impossible at such reactive speeds. Right now, you're being reminded to take a breath and trust the wave you came in on, to trust the season you're in. Time isn't running out. There is plenty of time. There is no rush, and it is never too late. There you go, Cap. All right. I hope you find that helpful. So, just as a reminder, we do have Mystic Sisters every Saturday night, either on this channel or Ona's channel. I will put the February schedule below so you can check that out. I am starting a introduction to the Kabbalah class. It ended up sort of being like a class group kind of thing. And that's going to start in May. I believe it's May 7th. If that's the first Thursday of May, then that is the day. Um, I'll put information below for that. I'm also doing a beginner's astrology for those of you who enjoy astrology and may feel like you're not that adept at it. This is a great class. It's all the basics. I've been teaching it for a long time, and I think I do a pretty good job on this one. It is one of my favorites to teach. And I think that's all the announcements. I think so. So please take care of yourself, Capricorn. It's all going to work out. I mean, doesn't it always? I mean, we have to live with what we live with, and we can only do the best that we can and leave it at that. And I know if you're a Capricorn, you're doing the best that you can. All right, guys, take care. I'll see you again next month. Be careful out there, and know that you're not alone. All right, we're in this together, guys. Much love to you all. Namaste.